Right, go live. Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name's Helen Webster. I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our fabulous guest today is
Max from the Physio Clinic, Crosby.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Max. And it is the
Lovely.
Physio Clinic Crosby's first birthday today. Yay!
I've had a little balloon, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, and a little cake. We should have got a fairy cake, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
Never mind.
not very organised.
So yeah, massive shout out, and we'll find out how you got to where you are on your first birthday in a little bit. But first, we shout out to the kids, any little people who've done amazing things this week. Do you want to go first, Anna, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I bet I pick what you were going to say.
Pick the same one. I'll be fuming.
Well, often you rob mine, so I'm having it. I would like to say congratulations to the wonderful signing choir on St George's Hall at the concert we went to on Sunday evening, because they were amazing. And it was late, it was getting dark. There were 25,000 people there, and these kids stood on St George's Hall and did sign to All You Need Is Love. So massive congratulations to them. Get in.
I can't believe that. I was going to shout out to the signing choir. And I know a few of the little people in the signing choir and a few of the grown-ups who teach it. So, yeah, it was amazing. It's great for other people to see.
Yeah.
Because they don't realise, once they've seen it. And it was televised, wasn't it? So they'll have seen themselves on the telly, which is cool. So I was going to shout out to them. So I'm going to shout out to the Holy Rosary kids. So I've been there today with Whack It Ball, our after school club, and we've got more kids joining in. So that was cool. So shout out to them. They are hilarious, year 6.
Brilliant.
Yeah. What about you, Max? Who are you going to shout out to?
I'm probably sitting a little bit on the fence here. I don't have too many kids necessarily I don't have kids myself, but one of my clients today said that her daughter was doing SATs this week. So I thought I'd do like a general shout out to anyone who's doing SATs. Or any parents that are listening. I'm sure you probably need a little bit of probably a glass of wine or something this week.
Yeah, it is. It's tough for them, isn't it? Year 6 and little SATs and things like that. So yeah, massive shout out to
the first proper time you've put under all that pressure, haven't you, with school and that? So.
Yeah, great shout out. Shout out to all the little year 6. So success this week.
Can I just share the link on my? Can I share the link somewhere?
I don't know. We will have a look and we'll see if we can find
it. I'll share it now on your page. That's what I'm doing.
There you go. Sandra's going to share the link onto Max's page, and then we'll share your link, Max, on our page so people can follow you and stuff.
Yeah,
like
cool.
Cool. So a success this week for you personally, something good that's happened to you. I'm going to go first, so Sandra can't think now.
Go on then.
Even though it was Sandra's, really was that we were able to. My success is that she invited me to go to the concert, and it was amazing. It was the opening of Eurovision. There was 25 to 30,000 people outside St George's Hall. All the Liverpool bands were playing. The atmosphere was amazing, and there was just cool people about, wasn't there? And we saw a few faces we knew, and a big shout out. Yeah, so shout out to all of them who participated and put the event on, because it was amazing. But we need to watch it. I didn't watch it yet. I haven't watched it yet, but we need to watch it, Sam, because the drone show that was above the.
I watched it and I was very disappointed because they showed 30 minutes of clips of the 2-hour concert with different things. And the concert was brilliant. And they didn't show Jamie Webster, who was fantastic. Mm-hmm. They didn't show, they hardly showed, they didn't show the lightning seeds. They just didn't show loads of stuff. They showed the second clips from the second half when it was going dark. Yeah, they didn't show, and there was loads went on before.
Oh, I thought it was showing the whole concert.
No, I did as well. I was like, where's the rest of it? I was gutted. But it was just an absolute brilliant event. It was so good. It was just great.
Yeah. The only bits I saw of it was people's Instagram story.
Oh, it was just fantastic. Yeah. It was just, honest to God, it was one of the best events I've ever been to in the city. It was really good. I went to years ago when Jose Caballero and Montserrat Caballé came to sing opera at the, a lifetime ago, the end of the 80s or something, or early 90s. And they came to sing, and they built a big stage at the Albert Dock I don't know what it was for. I don't know how come they came in, and the tickets were through the roof. And I said to Mum, let's just try. And we went to the box office. There was no internet. Then we went to the box office and they had the tickets for half price. And we went, go on then. And we went and we got at the back row. It was an open air concert.
Yeah.
That was just I'd never been to anything like that. It was a wonderful experience. This was just on another level yesterday because the light shows, everything, and we had Angie Redhead on the show saying what it was going to be like. We interviewed her in St George's Hall, and she was telling us all the stuff for Eurovision. And she said it's going to be a 360-degree show. Wherever you stand and you're going to see loads. And you did. There was something for everyone. It was absolutely brilliant. And when I was watching the concert on the telly, it showed it from that bit. And I said to her, we were right over there, but we saw loads of stuff.
Yeah.
So well done.
I thought we would have been on the telly.
Clearly, because the cameras were never off the pair of us.
No.
So that's my success as well.
Yeah. Okay. What's your success this week, Max?
So my main hobby is cricket.
Oh.
All right. Okay.
Probably played cricket since I was about 12 years old. And I play for a team which is in Garston near Liverpool South Parkway.
Oh, yeah.
Called Cheshire Lions. And we're in the Southport District League, play at all teams around Liverpool, even up to like New Victoria and Southport teams and blah blah blah. And but this week I was captain for the first time.
Oh right, okay.
So I was stepping into. I'm not like main captain, but I stepped in for an injury and a few other things. So it was good timing because it gave me something to talk about on here. But
that's cool.
I was really proud. We didn't.
How
we
did you
didn't
get
win,
on in the match?
We lost.
Well, that's all right.
But yeah, hopefully, I should have another chance this weekend. So make up for it.
Yeah. Did you play on Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, we played Saturday. So the weather was a bit touch and go. We got halfway through and then it did rain, but we managed to get the game in and finish. But
fair play, nice. Are you a batter? Are you a wicket? Are you a fielder? What's your main bowler?
I'll probably get a bit of abuse if the team watch it, but in the team I play for, probably would argue I'm a bit of both.
Okay.
A bit of bowling, a bit of batting. In amateur cricket, it's one of those things where you kind of do both.
Yeah.
You will get players who will just solely bat or just solely bowl, but generally do both.
Okay, cool.
Not very well, but both.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're going to play this or that. Sandra, are you going first or am I going first?
You can go first today.
Okay, so we are sponsored by the Childcare Academy. So massive thank you to the Childcare Academy, which is a nursery down in the Baltic. So we're trying to be a little bit themed. Okay, so I'm going to do a theme about kids' TV. Okay, so Peppa Pig or In the Night Garden? Max.
Probably say Peppa Pig.
Oh.
Only for the fact of there's a really funny, I think it's either a TikTok account or Instagram account who do like voiceovers for it.
Oh, do they?
It's probably funnier than the original. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure there'll be people listening and probably seen it before.
There will be.
But I wouldn't say I've necessarily watched In the Night Garden that much, so that's probably another reason. Yeah.
I took Thomas to see the live of the Night Garden, which was ace. When he was little. He's like 16 now. He'd be fuming that I've told everyone now. What about you, San?
So, the Night Garden, is that the thing with Macca Packer in?
Yeah, and Niggle Piggle and all of them.
Oh, yeah. God help us all. Peppa Pig, because it's animation and I like animation.
Oh, I'm going to go In the Night Garden because it's all about like having a little restful sleep and everything like that. And the names are dead cool.
Live.
And I've seen it live, yeah. My life, I've seen it live. Yeah. Okay. Go on, San.
Okay. Staying on the theme of the Childcare Academy then. Would you rather work in a nursery or in an infant school?
It's a tough one. I'm probably going to say an infant school. No idea why.
100% infant school because I don't like babies.
I guess it depends what age. I guess maybe with an infant, so again, I don't have kids, but looked after nieces and nephews and all that. Maybe they're a little bit easier to entertain when they're that age.
Yeah.
Well, I think the kids in the nursery are hilarious, and you see them going in and they're dead cute and all the rest of it because there are neighbours where we are in the Baltic. But most infant school children are perfectly capable of toileting themselves, which is one of the factors for me.
Perfect. Okay, Max, on the theme of cricket,
go on.
Would you rather go to the 100 or a 2020?
So I've been to a fair few 2020 games. Never got to 100. So I'll go with 100 because it does look really fun. Fireworks and pretty colours. Sponsored by snacks.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
That will be cool to go to.
Yeah. So Sandra, right? The 2020
is my answer.
The 2020 is like a Fast and Furious one, and they have like 20 overs each. 100 is 100 balls. That's it.
You used to play one-man cricket in the road.
Nothing like that.
You used to get told off. Okay, fine. So
would you rather see cricket with like fireworks or cricket without fireworks, should we say?
With fireworks, but let me tell you this. I remember when I was at St. Austin's school when I was young, a child being hit in the face with a cricket ball.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And I thought, no, this isn't a good thing in life. And I've never engaged in cricket since. So when we used to play in the street, we had a tennis ball, which was all right.
A lot safer.
So no to cricket.
Oh. So I've been to the 100 and to 2020, and the 20. So my dad's a big cricket fan.
One knows what happens in cricket. It's a surprise to everyone.
Well, when you go to the 100 and the 2020, they're like Fast and Furious, so it's all done and dusted. So they're like dead good. And we went to see England against Pakistan in the 2020 at Old Trafford, which is one of the best sporting events I've ever been to in my life. It was amazing. I loved it. And we've been to the 100 twice, but the 100's just like whack 'em, and last year was really good because they were just like bashing them everywhere, and they had to win, and Lancashire won, and it was so it was really cool.
And you see the women as well, didn't you?
Yeah, you see the women first. So we watched the women and then we watched the men's. So yeah, I really love the 100. But if I could go to England, Pakistan, the 2020 again, it was just hilarious. It was we were in the Foster's party stand. Nobody was drinking. The t-shirts were flying in there. It was like the best party atmosphere that I've ever been to in a football in a sporting event. So yeah, I'd probably go 2020.
You going to the Ashes this year?
No, so I'm not into cricket that much, like the 3-day
Not
and the 5-day.
Yeah.
No, that bores me. But I like the Fast and Furious of the 100 and the 2020. Yeah, so that's cool. Go on, Stan. Your next one.
Just making sure I was tagging the physio clinic Crosby there. Okay, brilliant. I'm not going to ask a question on cricket because I don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't know what I'm talking about most things unless I deal with it myself. Okay, Max, would you rather treat a sports person who had an injury or someone in their 50s who'd had a car accident?
See, I'll put a bit of backstory to this. So generally, if I'm thinking of like I want to have a sort of a relatively nice time, the athletes or the sports people are generally a little bit more motivated, and will maybe do their exercises, as and when they're told. Trying to be careful here. But let's say for the satisfaction of getting someone better, then I'll pick the, what did you say, 50-year-old?
Yeah, but look.
I know, look at that movement now. That's amazing, Sam.
See that? He's brilliant. The guy, he's all online, but I'd rather. And he goes, anyway, he sends me a reminder, you've got your appointment. I'm going to message him, go, I'm sorry.
Because you haven't done your exercise.
You got a new one.
Exactly what Max said.
Yeah, and then when he said it, I thought, that's bang on that, really.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair comment, Max. Go on, Hal.
Yeah. Okay. My last one is, would you rather have rhubarb crumble or apple pie?
Oh, see, I'm not really a massive fan of like cooked fruit,
Oh, okay.
but if you were going to force me to eat one, I'd probably eat apple pie.
Yeah. What about you, San?
Apple pie,
Yeah.
gluten-free, lovely, delicious, the nicest thing in the world, especially French tatin, which is open, that's just delicious.
It's got to be like loads more crumble though, like 70-30.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, Max. Yeah. But I'm only saying that because in work, I do a little gardening group called Grow to Eat, and we grew some rhubarb. So I picked the rhubarb. I gave it to this lovely lady. She didn't bring the pie back. They ate it themselves. So on Friday, I picked some rhubarb, and yesterday I made a rhubarb cake and took it into work today, and it was amazing. And I've just been given a load more rhubarb, but I don't like rhubarb, but I like the cake was nice. Yeah,
it's all right in jam and stuff, you know. When
yeah.
you mix
I've baked it. I've baked rhubarb, and I put grated an orange and the juice of an orange and honey and baked it in the oven, but I haven't tasted it yet, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to try that. What about you, Sam, for your last question?
Okay, for my last question, courgette or aubergine?
100% courgette.
I love courgette, but I really like aubergine as well. I'm probably going to say 100% courgette as well.
Probably, if you asked me that question 2 years ago, probably would have said neither.
Yeah.
But
well done.
Got into HelloFresh.
Yeah.
If you ever had that, and there's like courgette a little bit, and that's been like really good. If there's anyone listening to this who's like a really fussy eater, then like just get HelloFresh in, and then you've got it there. You've spent your money on it, and you just eat it, and then you have to be surprised. So
yeah, I'm on Gusto now, so I get Gusto now. I used to get HelloFresh, I get Gusto now. So yeah, that's
good. On to me about them.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I've had courgette tonight. What about you, San? Courgette or aubergine?
Aubergine, probably. It's what you do with them now, but I've got them growing in pots, so I'm quite excited.
Amazing. Fantastic. Cool. Okay, so we know a little bit more about Max. So I'm going to introduce him, San, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Max is my physio. So I was in a car accident, and then Max was the chosen physio to attend. And on the first day that we went in and had a little consultation, which was great. And then the second time I went in, he's not a physio with a physio bed. He doesn't have a physio bed. It's all about movement and how the body works and everything like that, which is right up my street. So I was like really interested in it. Anyway, when I come out my first session, which I don't think Max knows, I nearly collapsed because that was like all my days. It was like a workout. It was like a full-on PT session, but it was brilliant. And the exercises that Max gave me, I do them in the gym now. So when I go to the gym, I've got like all of the little screenshots of all the exercises. And then I do that as a workout in the gym now as well. But he's explained how if you haven't got that equipment at home, then you can use other like household items, which we will go into as we go along. So for me, Max is an unusual physio, but in a really, really positive way. So Max, I'd like you to tell us how you got into a physio and how you got to then move your physio practice over to what you're doing. But I'd like to say that it's the Physio Clinic Crosby's first birthday. And I was having a chat with Max a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Oh, you need to come on the show and tell us about the clinic and everything." And we were like, "Oh, what date?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And when we looked, and I said, "Oh, what about then?" And he said, "I think that might have been when I had like my first clients." And it worked out that it was a year ago. Is it today that was your first client?
Today or tomorrow,
yeah, which is mad, isn't it? So so take it away, Max, and then Sandra and I. We've got about 30 minutes, and then Sandra and I will butt in at the same time and ask the same question. Over to you.
I just put a little caveat in to say that I do have a physio bed.
Oh, you do have a physio bed. Sorry, my apologies.
I do have one, but like I say, it comes out when needed. And
Max, had she been gardening, so you thought, I'm not going to let her on my physio bed?
Yeah, dirty shoes.
Yeah, go on. Anyway.
So I guess a good place to start would be how I got into it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. How did you get into it? How come did you decide when you were young to be a physiotherapist?
Absolutely not. So I was probably one of those proper typical teenage boys who, if you asked me at 15, 16, 17, what did I want to do, I'd have had no idea. And I probably went, oh, I don't know. And I'm sure there'll be, say, people listening who have got boys that age now. So basically I went to Camp America when I was, it's been 2011. And then while I was there, my mum was training to do a big cycle in Kenya for charity.
Oh,
wow.
And unfortunately, she fell off a bike and broke her ankle in 3 places. So when I came back, I wasn't working because I'd finished college. So I was essentially taxi driver to and from hospital appointments, physio appointments. And so I went along to a place sort of back where I'm from. And I was going there.
Which is where, Max?
So I originally from a place called Swindon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is down south. People don't know it. It's like Bristol region. Went down there and was going to the physio. And to be fair, the physio was really, really good with me. She was engaging. And because I was at home as well, it was a case of, right, I want your mum to do this so you can help her out. You can, I was doing a bit of massage, scar massage, helping her to move the ankle a little bit and bob. And then I just got well into it.
Okay.
At the point, I didn't really know what I wanted to do anyway. So I'd already sort of told my mum that I'd never really wanted to do like an office job. I didn't want to sit at a desk all day. So I was sort of, when I went to college, I did that public services course, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
And I think I only really picked it because I didn't have to do any exams.
Yeah.
So it was just like essays basically. But sort of at the time I was thinking like RAF, police, or that kind of public service sort of role. Being a physio never really was in the forefront of my mind until that time. And then because I didn't get enough A levels to go straight to do a uni degree. I had to do like a foundation year. So like an entry year. Basically, it was essentially for mature students, which is a bit ironic because at the time I wasn't mature at all. I went along and I did that in Birkenhead Sixth Form College.
Oh yeah.
And that was in 2013. Which then you do within that you do your maths again, your science, psychology, a few other bits and bobs at like a sort of GCSE/A level. In order to prepare you to then, if you get a certain degree, certain grade, then you then automatically become accepted onto the physio program at Liverpool.
Like an access course, man.
Yeah, basically an access course.
Yeah.
So it was perfect for me, really, because like I say, I got sort of the bare minimum GCSEs. I didn't do A levels. I did the public service course, which still counts, but it's not sort of like maths and science, whatever.
Yeah.
Like ironically, physio is a bachelor of science, but I got a D in science, so it was perfect for me.
Max, I've got qualifications coming out my ears. I got a U for maths, U for biology, and a U for chemistry. And it's a good job Spanish class with physics, because if I'd have done physics, I'd have had 4 U's.
Yeah.
There we go. It doesn't mean a thing, honestly.
It doesn't. None of that age doesn't mean a thing. So that was sort of like the early journey. And then came up to Liverpool for uni at, how old was I? 2021.
Yeah.
And then 4 years at uni. And then, I'm still here.
And you're still here. See, most people, when they come here, they don't go home. That's it. Now this Liverpool. So is the physio course, is it 4 years? And how is that made up?
So I did 4 years, but the physio one is only 3. Each uni is different. So the ones around, the ones around here, you've got Liverpool, you've got Salford, Manchester, Met, Kiel, that's sort of close. They all work slightly differently. Basically, the way we did it is we did pretty much the first year, you learn the anatomy alongside some other bits, and then you go out on placement, generally second year, third year, and sort of try and learn on the job alongside like uni stuff.
So where did you go on your placement?
So I spent a lot of time at Old Hay actually.
Okay.
Yeah, which was really good. Few at Aintree, the Walton Centre.
Yeah.
Mostly sort of spent my time there.
So what's your favourite, like working with kids or working with adults? Is it a different qualification, or once you're a physio, you can do whatever?
Yeah, no, once you're a physio, you can do whatever. They generally like more experienced people with kids.
Yeah.
I did enjoy working in the pediatrics area. I was, you can build up some good rapport quite quickly with kids, and they're always really keen and happy to engage. And I like making things fun with them. It's something that's like it's quite nice to do. But yeah, there was more opportunities in adults, so I sort of went down that route really.
Max, what was the biggest thing that shocked you when you'd done your training and then you went out on placement? Like, was anything like strange or unusual happen?
Yeah, so you essentially, when you do qualify, you are supported quite a lot. You've always generally got someone around like mentoring you there, but
yeah,
obviously you end up on elderly wards, and there's obviously I'm sure you've been in a hospital visiting relatives or whatever, but it's a bit of a tough place, and sometimes, especially when you're early qualifying, a physio can be called up to the ward to help on the respiratory with someone who's really poorly. They might be like, we need the physio here to try and help get the some like secretions, which is like mucus on the chest, which can help to get their oxygen flow better. And sometimes it's a pressure situation of like, we need you to try and help this person, otherwise they might actually get even more poorly. So when you're young and you're just really qualified, and essentially you don't really know what you're doing, so that's an eye opener sometimes. But no, just seeing some of the people on the wards and you're thinking,
yeah,
what am I going to do here?
I think when you think of a physio in a hospital, I think for me, I was thinking of when you go to the physio at hospital, you don't think of a physio, even though I do know that physios go around the wards and like work. So do you have to do a bit of both? Are you able to pick and choose, or how does that work?
Yeah, generally when you first qualify, you do something which is called your rotations. So each hospital is different, but 4 months normally, or 6 months, you can spend time. So the main areas, you've got the respiratory, which is like on the wards, elderly care, or generally elderly care, ICU, those type of places. You've got the neuro with people who've had a stroke or maybe learned neuro conditions, and then you've got the area which I work in now at Arrow Park, which is the outpatients, which is more of like your musculoskeletal stuff. So like you say, you've got a bad shoulder or you've got a bad back or knee, and then you sort of come in and you see someone for 45 minutes. But yeah, generally what you do when you first start is you will move around all those different areas, essentially to learn the job, but also to decide what you think you might want to go into. So I'm static in outpatient, so I don't go on the wards anymore. Okay. I don't do that stuff. I solely just see people when they come in off the street, or come in from their GP referral, and that's sort of then what I do in the clinic as an extra.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part before you decided on the musculoskeletal? What was your favorite, like, sort of, was it like respiratory? Was it older age? What was your most challenging, should we say? Yeah,
so I definitely have always liked outpatients, kind of coming from the sporting background I've got as well. You've always look at the physio as, like you said, someone that you go and see. But to be fair, I spent a lot of time on intensive care, especially around COVID as well. I was on there for a few months, dealing with that, which was, you generally feel like you are helping people there. Sometimes on the wards, the physio might come along, get somebody out of bed and walk them, up and down, and then sort of go back in the chair. And it's not often the most interesting part. But yeah, generally on ICU, you feel like you actually are helping people. And then obviously with my role, people come in and they're in, constant pain for a year or something. And then hopefully a couple of sessions later, then they're a lot better, or they're managing it better.
Amazing. So were you during COVID? Did you work during COVID then?
Yeah, so I was one of them. So I was I was in Chester at the time, and I was on outpatients, but because I had experience on the wards and stuff, then our list got cancelled. So then I went over to ICU and on the wards a little bit, and was helping out there.
Right. So when you're in Chester, are people injured playing polo on a horse? And then when you hear they've hurt themselves skateboarding,
you have to be. I'll have to be a bit careful with that because my partner's from Chester.
All right.
He'll be listening.
So you do hear. I had a friend who was in the theatre nurse, and she said the injuries were quite different depending on the areas where you work.
Yeah,
like in an emergency situation. Yeah, I hurt myself playing polo. Right.
Yeah, I fell over when I was drunk at the races.
I fell off a scooter in town. I bet there's loads of them.
Yeah, there is a lot around Christmas.
Yeah, around Christmas. Yeah.
You always know when there's been a frost or it's been icy because about 5 weeks later you get lots of people coming in with broken wrists.
Ah, that's interesting.
Mm.
Yeah. Falling over in the snow and the ice.
Yeah.
Take the fall.
Yeah,
yours does, yeah. So what made you think? So when did you get to the point and you thought, right, I'm working in it's Arrow Park that you're in now, and I'm doing the outpages and I'm having a great time. What made you then think that you were going to set the physio clinic Crosby up?
So always in the back of my mind, I was wanting to do something like this. I guess money comes into it a little bit, isn't it? And trying to help people out from your own accord, not having to work for someone else. Maybe being able to, in the NHS, it's time pressure. I might have, my waiting list might be 8 weeks before somebody can see me again. I get 20 minutes to see someone, or maybe 40 minutes as an initial appointment. But when it comes to my work, I can set my own time. Depending on I might be able to give you an hour as an initial appointment, and then you can actually educate people a bit more and have a bit more time with people, and be able to rehab them better, quicker, and a little bit more effective. So it's always been an interest of mine. I guess you have to remember that your reputation's on the line when it's more like this. I wouldn't want to have started it too soon because I might not have been as experienced. So then you make more mistakes, and you might miss things, and then ultimately it's your name, isn't it? So I got to a point where I thought, I'm in a senior role at Arrow Park. I mentor people, training and stuff like that. So I was at a point where I felt like my knowledge was getting there and was good enough to be able to transfer it to this.
Cool. How does it differ then so for me personally, I've experienced one of the sessions, but explain to people how it differs from, sort of a hospital appointment to what you do in the clinic. Yeah.
Well, I like to keep the way I treat people is generally the same, whether it's the NHS or my private stuff. So the two ways I work is insurance. I get insurance company referrals, which is obviously where you came along, and but I also obviously get private ones. Generally, I like to say that I treat everyone as an individual, so you don't get a one size fits all treatment session. Say, like, for example, with yourself, it was right, let's put the bed away, let's get you moving, let's get you stronger. You'd already had that experience with your gym stuff, and you'd be doing a PT. So it was okay, right, let's get you going, get you moving. However, sometimes I get people who walk in who don't want to bend over. They can't, they're scared for the life of them to touch their toes because they feel as if their back is going to, fall apart.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be session one, be getting them to do ball slams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a case of maybe a little bit more education. Maybe a little bit of hands-on work, which is useful to help with pain or to get people going, getting people moving, build up trust. And then ultimately, the end goal would be doing that sort of stuff. But I have to make that decision based off, first impressions.
Yeah.
What to do.
Yeah. Cool. No, it is. It's and we were talking to, so ball slams is like an amazing exercise for lots of different things. And we went through a few things, didn't we? Like, so if I didn't have a medicine ball at home, then you were able to adapt things, weren't you?
So I always think, and I say this to people a lot. So you probably think of me as a physio. I exercise, 6 times a week. Go running all the time. Like, I'm really not like that. I'm a bit of a hypocrite sometimes. So maybe I'm a good person to be able to understand that. Sometimes you might go to a physio and they say, right, I want you to do these exercises 4 times a day for half an hour every single day. Yeah. And there is no way in hell I'm doing anything other than clean my teeth, twice a day. Yeah. So it's like you have to be, realistic, don't you? And so it's a case of, and for that example you mentioned, not everyone, 99% of people aren't going to have a medicine ball at home. So it's about coming up with ways that I want you to do this movement. So how could you do it at home? So that example is you get a couple of towels or you get some sort of washing, put it in a pillowcase, and then it works basically the same, just not as heavy.
Yeah.
But there's loads of examples like that of if you've not got a 2 kilogram dumbbell where you can, lift up a rucksack with things in it, or a water bottle with sand in it. There's loads.
Yeah, and I think during lockdown we found that. So I did a lot of chair-based activities during lockdown, and I was using like 2 tins of beans, and then I found the handle on the washing powder, the liquid and stuff like that. We used that as different things. I used a pair of tights as a resistance band, and it was just hopefully finding things that people had in their house that they could actually move, because you're more about movement, aren't you, rather than sort of curing the niggle. It's more about a range of movement around that niggle, isn't it?
It's important that you fix the problem, not the symptom. Otherwise, it will just come back. So, you can, and this is where I probably maybe is a downfall from a financial point of view, because there's lots of physio clinics around there who will get people in and they'll, they'll lie them on the bed and they'll massage the leg or the back, and then they'll come back the next week because the pain comes back. And they'll, sometimes it's a bit of a sales tactic. But I try not to do that. And I think the way the world is going and the way physio is going more into the art of, hands-on treatment can be useful. Acupuncture, massage, cupping is the sort of relatively new one.
Acupuncture.
Yeah, it's all good for a short term and it's good for pain relief, but it's not going to fix the major issue.
Until you're at an event and the blood's coming down your ear and your mate walks out, makes an excuse, pretends she has to go, and you see her out the window chatting to everyone because she didn't have to go at all, and you sat there and it kills and the blood's dripping down.
There you go. See,
that's one of the funniest things. We went to a taster day, didn't we? And there was a taster of acupuncture. I'd never had it before, and it was just a few in your ear. Sat opposite, and she goes like that. She puts it in, and she goes ding like that. And she goes like that really loud, and the woman goes, "Oh, did you smoke? Didn't you do you smoke?"
She ran the thing. Well, I think we knew it was sore by the blood that was dripping off.
Dripping down, yeah. So,
yeah,
shocking.
Yeah. So let's go back to, so there's acupuncture. There's
so there's all that stuff you can do, which is, everybody wants a quick fix nowadays, don't they? If you want to buy something, you can get it probably tomorrow on Amazon. So everybody wants to be fixed. You spend the money on coming. You want to walk out better, and hopefully you will walk out better in some occasions. And there are some stuff that we can do to try and help at the time. But generally, these things do take a bit of time. And if you want it to stay better, then it's about doing the stuff, at home and generally spending a bit of time educating as well. I try and do that. So my sort of like motto is kind of like educate and rehabilitate. So I think if if you know more about a problem that you've got, you're more likely to do the things to get it better. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
If
And I
you know
think
why
what
you're in
happens-
pain,
Yeah.
then you're going to
100%.
do more about it.
And I think what happens with your we were talking about reputation.
Mhm.
I think what happens is if you're sort of like upfront and you say to people, no, we're going to educate you and, this is how we're going to work. If they ever, hopefully their niggles are fixed.
Mhm.
But if anybody that they listen to has got a niggle, they'll say, oh, you need to go to this guy. He doesn't rip
Yeah.
you off. He's, he doesn't say, well, you've got to come for 24 sessions.
Yeah.
And I think reputation and word of mouth is the biggest compliment that you can have, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So moving forward with the physio clinic then.
Yeah.
It's your birthday.
It is.
So what are the plans or the future plans for the physio clinic, Crosby?
It's a good one. Good question. Now, obviously, when I first set it up, it was a case of, I just want one client and I'll be happy. And then, it's grown nicely. I'm really busy. Probably average maybe between 15 and 30 hours a month, which is on top of my normal full-time hours. So, I can start fit in as much as I can. So the transition from going from part-time to then, even dropping hours in my NHS job or going full-time is a big one.
Yeah.
I'm sort of relatively happy with maybe 3 or 4 new clients a month. And then obviously you've got the follow-ups that you might see. For me to go full-time, I'd need probably 15, 20 a month to make it worthwhile, especially with how good my pension is.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes as well, it's, you trained to work in the NHS, didn't you? And that was what you wanted to do. And sometimes people, don't want to give that up. And it's having that balance, isn't it? Of, still working and doing your NHS stuff, but being able to do this at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah. So my goals are really to grow the Instagram page, grow the social media, and generally just be, when someone thinks of physio in Crosby, there's sort of 4 or 5 places in Crosby. There's a lot of competition. I want me to be, one of the first things they think of and one of the first names. And it will take time, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm probably the youngest one, so.
Yeah, so you're all right. So where are you based? Tell everybody where you're based and how they can get in touch with you.
So I'm in Crosby, and if you know Crosby, it's on Coronation Road. There's a Nissan garage. I'm tucked behind there in a gym called Alive Fitness. And you can find them on Instagram, and you can find me on Instagram. Just put in the Physio Clinic Crosby. And if you're really keen, then I've got a competition on them at the moment. There we go. That's me. Yeah.
We'll share the links on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to be quick because it runs out tomorrow. But if you go on, it's a lot of it's about giving back to the people who have been supportive for the first year, but also to sort of grow a little bit more. There you go. So if you go on that, you click like it, follow me, and then share it, then you can be in with a chance of being lucky enough to come and spend an hour with me.
Yeah. So the prize is a session, isn't it? With a session with yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll do 2 things to do. So you can come and see me if you've got a bad shoulder or bad knee or whatever. But I also do a thing which is called the Peak Performance Review, which is designed for people who don't necessarily have any problem, but maybe they're doing a marathon or they're doing a big sporting event and they just want to have an MOT, someone called it before.
Okay.
So we'll check mobility, we'll check how strong they are. We'll do a couple of things. We'll test out your jump, see how high you can jump. It's a good outcome measure for how strong you are. And we'll talk about your goals and your training and what your goal is, and then how best you might be able to be successful and be in your peak performance.
Oh, I like that. That's cool. I really like that.
So say there's people who maybe aren't sporty or things like that who are watching or listening. What type of person should go and see a physiotherapist, in your opinion? Who should see a physio?
Generally, anybody. I've treated, people from as young as 5, 6 years old to 99. I regularly get people, maybe more so in my NHS at the moment, little old ladies, cute little old men who come in who, That's the population who have normally got issues with the back or the shoulder and things. So yeah, generally anybody. There's lots of approaches. There's lots of different faces in physio. So I think it gets the reputation of being a sports place, doesn't it? But I'd probably treat more middle-aged men, older men than the sporty athletic type. So generally when you're probably less younger than 30, you're only generally getting injured through a trauma, so you might twist your knee or you might pull your shoulder when you're playing sport. But generally around the middle age, you can wake up with a bad leg, can you, or a bad back, and for no reason. So yeah.
Right. What's have you noticed any injuries with like backs and things since people have been working at home? Have you noticed there's been an increase in, like people sitting in the wrong chairs at home and working and things, or neck pains or anything like that? Has there been like a trend in anything?
To be honest, it was probably more, remember when everyone was like, oh, I'm going to start running? Yeah, that was probably the worst thing. So,
That's
so a lot of people were going from doing that desk job to then being at home and had nothing to do, and were like, oh, I'm going to go and run 5k, which that was like a common thing, wasn't it? Everyone was doing a 5k, or was it 5? What was it? I can't remember what it was. £5. I can't remember what it was.
I think lots of people went from doing absolutely nothing to like 5k every day, and then once they could run a 5k, they went straight to a 10k they just upped the mileage loads. Loads of people were like, hell, my knees like dead sore, my ankles, and I was like, well, you've gone from doing nothing to this without the middle bit in between,
So that was probably the more common thing that I saw, rather than. But no, yeah, you're probably right in terms of probably had lots of the older population who were pretty generally fit. They were going in the shop regularly. They were socializing, and spent literally like 18 months at home. And then the next time you see them, they'd aged 30 years. Could barely walk. That was also quite a common thing that was still, and they still see it now.
Yeah, we spoke about that, didn't we? People not being as mobile, sort of like the older generation, as you say, who were like out and about doing things, who were then not able to go out. And then, of course, the effect of movement and mobility is like phenomenal, isn't it?
When years ago I went over to Holland, in the Netherlands, the very north part, where my son was going to uni for a year there, and they were all pensioners cycling everywhere. They all looked amazing. They were all dead trim, and they were in the park doing exercises at 9 o'clock. Not running around fanatically, but just doing nice, gentle exercise or cycling, and just a lot more mobile as people. And you could see it, and they all look really healthy. I think we're very sedentary, aren't we? And and it blows a hoolie in Holland as well. It's not like it's all warm and sunny all the time at all. It was quite cold where they are. So
we've got no excuse.
What's a good tip then, Max, for people who maybe what's a good tip for them to maybe move a little bit more, or to do maybe a little something every day that can help with their health and well-being?
Yeah, so I guess the obvious one is getting in your 10,000 steps. A little tip I've got for that is often people come in and say, oh, I can't manage that. I can't do that every day. So average it out, over the week. So try and get 70 for the week, rather than, if there's a Tuesday when you're in meetings all day long and you've got something on in the evening and you can't get it, then make up for it on the weekend.
That's good advice, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the other one is stand on one leg when you clean your teeth.
So I do that for when I was a ballet. So I was a ballet dancer when I was younger, and our training was in the morning you clean your teeth on one leg, and in the nighttime you clean your teeth standing on the other leg, and it's your balance and your posture. And lots of people have said, so I've done that since I was about 8 or 9.
Especially if you're probably over 50, over 60, over 70, then it becomes even more important. I think I can't remember the exact stat, but I think it's like 60% or 70% of 70-year-olds can't balance on one leg for 10 seconds. And if you think about your risk of falls and you know, I think falling over is one of the biggest hospital admissions.
That's really good advice, Max, actually. So if people brush their teeth standing on one leg and swap, say, morning and swap over the night time, that helps their core muscles or their balance? What's the most?
It's good for you. So it's good for your glutes. It's good for everything, really. It's good for your core. It's good for your postural muscles. Even it helps you in like sitting posture. So like Helen said, in the morning stand on your left, in the evening stand on your right, and get into a habit.
So I fall over my own feet.
There you go.
I fall over all the time. And not only don't fall, even like come down the stairs, I've got the banister and everything because I always go flying. And I am definitely going to try that.
Yeah, just don't do it by the stairs then.
No, yeah.
By the sink.
We had a thing, and I do a lot of like work with older adults and things, and I do a little balance exercise, everything. Because somebody said to me, you don't lose your balance because you get older, you lose your balance because you don't practice. So when you're little, if you watch kids, they like hop from one foot to the other and they climb up things and they climb down. And then we get to a certain age where we sort of stop doing that, don't we? We don't, and it's more about your balances. So I do like balance with, and the difference in just a few weeks of them, standing on one leg, putting medicine balls above their heads, and their balance. I've got a guy and his balance is phenomenal within maybe 12 weeks. His balance is just, and he said, I don't even practice at home, but he's gone from, and he can really stand on one leg now. His balance is amazing, which just gives you a bit more, it gives you a little bit more confidence when you're out and about and stuff like that, doesn't it? As an older person, that's, as any age, really. That's it.
So I've got some stats for you.
Yeah.
So can you still see me if I've gone?
Yeah, we can see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is on my Instagram as well. So on average, males lose roughly 38% of muscle strength and 33% of muscle mass between the age of 50 and 90. Females lose 27% of muscle strength and 26% of muscle mass. And then, so what it was 50% of 71-year-olds are unable to stand on one leg for 10 seconds. Now, the reason this is important is because the lower your muscle mass is, so, people with lower muscle mass are 86% more likely to die compared to those with higher muscle mass. So if you put that into context of like basically being strong and being able to balance, your core's better, you're generally fitter and healthier, and you're going to live longer.
Yeah, 100%. So my Uncle Ron's listening. He says the over 70s is too much Guinness. No wonder they can't balance on one leg. I think that's the under 20s, isn't it?
Well, Guinness gives you the iron, so it's good to drink.
Yeah. There you go. From the physio himself.
Oh, we've had it from the professional. It's okay to drink Guinness. There you go.
Okay to drink Guinness. Cool. So we wish you every success, Max. Please stay on. We haven't finished yet. And we'll share Max's stats and things like that. And we'll everybody who's listening, we'll get them all to go over to the Instagram page and like.
I think it's been quiet comment-wise. I think we've got a lot, because I was like that listening. I think we've probably got quite a few people who are intrigued.
Definitely. And the comments will come, won't they?
Yeah, Tom sends a smile over. He's in New Orleans, and he's a health professional. He's a nurse. So interesting stuff.
Definitely. Okay, so we have a red face moment. Something slightly embarrassing that's happened. So I've got one. I went into school, and when I go into the reception, they had a big sign on the window saying "no strawberries" and a big line across, like a no entry sign, but it said "no strawberries." So I went into the receptionist and I said, what does that sign mean? I said, when they say something, I said, what's it code for? Does it mean like the parent's a nightmare or,
strawberries? And
it does, it just means no strawberries because one of the kids got an allergy in the school.
Yeah, put a bit money on that.
Like a code word. I've never known anyone allergic to strawberries. Oh yeah, my mum says our Thursday classes balance is getting better, Helen. It is.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah. So there you go. Well done to me mum and all the gang. Yeah. Go on, Sam. What's your red face this week?
I don't think I've got one, and I've normally got loads, unless you probably remember something I've done and haven't realised.
No.
Sometimes I'm spoiled for choice, Max, because of all my embarrassing moments.
Yeah. No, you must have a few whoppers there, Max.
Yeah, probably not. I think when did this happen? Probably wasn't this week. I think it was a week or two ago. And obviously, I meet a lot of people throughout the day, different ages, and this has happened. Any physio that listens will probably get this. I had a gentleman probably in his 70s come in, and there was a female person in the waiting room with him, and thankfully she wasn't there, but as I walked in, I said, is your wife not coming in? It wasn't his wife, it was his daughter.
Good job she wasn't there.
Yeah, but we've all made that mistake before of saying, oh, who's this? Is it your wife? And it's like the horror that
Yeah.
or like, oh, this is my dad.
It's difficult sometimes, isn't it? You make assumptions, but they can be awkward,
Yeah.
And I always vouch to never say it, but you just you don't think of it until it happens.
When I was a Saturday girl in Abercans, which was El Kilos in town years ago, there was a lady and she was coming in by baby wool and stuff, and she was getting bigger and bigger. And I said, when's your baby due? You've been pregnant for ages. And she went, I'm not pregnant. It's the way I stand. And I said, I'm terrible. Oh, it was just awful.
It's the way I stand. You need to stand on one leg in the morning and one leg in the afternoon.
And you're causing it better.
I'm going to do that now. I'm going to tell our own and that. I'll be able to go on a scooter then.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'd like to go on one of the scooters in time. I fell off the Segway in Rome. I just fall off everything. So
let's not do that then. Okay, shout out to the grown-ups. Any grown-ups who've done amazing things this week. I'm going to shout out to Angie Redhead and the team from Culture Liverpool for just everything that they're doing to do with Eurovision. That they're just doing. She was our past guest and she gave us some little hints and tips and things like that, and of what's going on in the city. And also a big shout out to Peter Lloyd, who's been a guest. And we're going to get him on again, aren't we? His garden is opening tomorrow at 3:45 down at the Baltic. So if anybody's around, you can go down and see the garden.
And this talk about a man with a mission, and he was in the pouring rain yesterday and everything. And this is all about Eurovision. It's all about Ukraine, and it's about having a legacy, and we've done the translations for it. You go over with a QR code, click on your flag, and it tells you in your language what it's all about, so the visitors can see it. And the Battler are going tomorrow to the launch and performance. So I'm dead happy about that. He's ace.
Brilliant. Yeah. What about you,
Eurovision? Are you going to Eurovision this week?
Yeah, Sandra's going to the semi-final not tomorrow, the next day, Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going on Saturday because I've won tickets on the national lottery. We ain't going to tell anyone because I feel bad for so many people who can't. I'm an obsessive fan and have been obsessed with it my whole life, Max. And I literally near crashed the car when I just couldn't believe it. But I have a client who offered me a ticket as an act of kindness because he said, have you got a ticket yet? And I said, no. But I've actually felt a bit selfish going to 2.
Okay.
So I've offered the ticket to someone else who's done voluntary work and that. So I'm just waiting to hear from her if she wants. Cool. She'd like to go. So it's very, very, very fortunate.
Yeah. So who are you shouting out to, Sam?
Alex Oresti, who offered me the ticket, which
100%.
And then what it cost, he bought 4 and what it cost, and he's not going himself. He said you can go with my girlfriend and my daughter and that. So people are so kind, as I always say. So
who do you want to shout out to, Max?
Yeah, it's not really. They've not done anything this week, but I've not mentioned Kev, who is the owner of Alive Fitness. He I guess he gave me the opportunity to work at the clinic, or set up the clinic. So I always try and give him a shout out as much as I can. Yeah, most of my clients come through him at the gym. So I definitely wouldn't be here without the support from him. And if we've got everyone jokes that we've got a really good partnership because he essentially kills people in the gym, gets them injured, and then I fix them
and send them back again. Brilliant. It's like a little round.
He also does a load of really good charity work for Old Hay.
Brilliant. Big shout out to Kevin.
People do too.
Definitely. Very, very quickly, what book podcast are you listening to at the moment, Max?
So I listen to Peter Crouch podcast. I listened to a few. That one's really good. That one's really funny. You also got like Therapy Crouch with Abby Clancy, his wife.
Oh, cool.
That's really good.
He's hilarious.
They essentially just bicker the whole time. It's like
Just tells them
so
she's
funny.
hilarious. She's absolutely hilarious.
So those are the two I listen to. Generally listen to them in the car on the way to work.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of lighthearted.
Yeah, cool. What are you reading, Sam?
Well, I downloaded the book you told me about, Shoe Dog.
Shoemaker.
Sorry, Shoe Dog's the one I've read. I'm on to Shoemaker now, so I've just started that.
Brilliant.
But I'm not right into it though, because I've been like hysterical with excitement over Eurovision and everything going on. It's just amazing, and everyone needs to get to town at some point and access it free. I can't imagine living anywhere else and it being free for everybody to access as much as you can.
100%. Yeah. So I'm reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is very, very good. So I'm about a quarter of the way through, which is really, really cool. Yeah, cool. Okay. We want to say a massive thank you to Max for sharing his story with us and his little hints and tips and things like that. We will share all his stuff. Don't forget, you've got one more day to get on his birthday promotion to win a session with him. And do you have a closing quote that you can close the show with, Max?
I guess probably not really a quote, but I was thinking about this bit, and in terms of like the word success, maybe just to finish off in terms of like basically how like success, make sure you think about success as being relative. Your success is going to be different than other people. There's some people I come across who a successful day for them is get out of bed, have a shower, and open the curtains compared to other people. So yeah, think about success in different ways.
Really, really good advice, actually.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So massive thank you, and we will see everybody next week.
Lovely.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.